This Old Guy DIY Southern Michigan Whitetail Challenge has to do with tilling up an area that's going to be put in some brassica late season food plot. So I got a product called Big Sexy from Family Farm and Home. It's supposed to do about half an acre. So I have this area that had just been wild grass that I hit with Roundup 2 weeks ago. You can see the Roundup did its job. You can hear the Kubota purring behind me. So I have this Oregon tiller. I'm going to go through and there's the tiller. So I'm going to go through and till this thing up, and then I'll Cultipack it, I'll plant it, and I'll Cultipack again. And then they're forecasting rain at 6 o'clock tonight. It's about 1:30 on September 7th. And we'll see how this goes. So I had the tractor in low range, third gear. According to the GPS app on my phone, I was going about 2 miles an hour. And it took me 20 minutes to till this area up. Time to go unhook the tiller, get the Cultipacker, come on back. I just finished Cultipacking and I used this homemade Cultipacker. If you're interested in making one of these 500 pounders for about $100, I'll put the link in the verbiage section of this video. So here's how I hook it up to the drawbar. I just have that piece of chain goes through that clevis. But it took 12 minutes to do this. I ran in first gear, high range. It took longer to hook it up and drag it out of the woods than it did to Cultipack this area. And what I'm about to do is to plant this stuff by hand, because when it comes to these small seeds, I've never had much success. Oh yeah, here's the recipe again. I've never had much success with the Earthway planter. I set it to the smallest thing and I walk about 20 feet and I'm out of seed. So I'm planting this thing Amish style. I'm just going to dump it from my left hand into my right hand and fling it out there to broadcast it. I'm going to start down there by the weeds. So if I run out, I'll run out up here on the hill where it's all rocky anyway. And last year I put lime down at a rate of 2,000 pounds an acre. So I put about 6,000 pounds of lime in here. And hopefully we'll get that rain that they forecast for this evening and this thing will take. But I'll plant these little tiny seeds, Cultipack it one more time, and I'll be done. The product I'm planting today is called Big Sexy. It came from Family Farm and Home, cost about 20 bucks. Here's what their promotional stuff says. And on the back, here's what they say for the mix. They say planted in late August to mid-October. Today is September 7th. They're forecasting rain for this afternoon. So I'm going to go till up the area that I hit with Roundup 2 weeks ago. I'll Cultipack it, put this stuff down, and Cultipack again. I had an excellent plan but flawed execution. So even throwing it out by hand, I only got seed on 1/3 of this area. So I'm going to run to town and get some more seed, probably a different variety, just so I can do an A-B comparison. I knocked these little pieces of corn down just to mark the area that I had seeded. So from here east, this little area is all that I seeded. Maybe it'll come in thick. In the meantime, while I'm standing here, I'll show you how this corn turned out. This was the Rural King Roundup Ready $179 corn. Let me tear an ear open, I'll show you. So I have pretty good growth in spite of the predation from the deer when all this stuff was young. You know, they've destroyed some areas, but other areas survived. And here's what an ear looks like. So I think it's going to be a good fall for the critters. Overall, the goal was to get the deer to hang out here. And once the rut starts, I think the does will be in here, and if the does are in here, the bucks will be here. So I'll go get some more seed and get back to you. And to make it real easy for me to see where I planted, I went north-south in the area that I planted already. And initially I'd gone east-west. So I've got a nice line of demarcation here between the area that has that Big Sexy stuff and whatever I get next. So we'll go check it out. Today's second product from Family Farm and Home is the Harvest Plot Buck Forage Oats. It cost me 35 bucks a couple minutes ago. Looking at their little map, we're up here in Michigan. Michigan says until September 20th, today is September 7th. And then they say put about 110 pounds an acre on, 120 pounds an acre. But if I look at my little Earthway spreader, Earthway even spread, on the bottom of this thing for oats, it says set it to setting 6 for 64 pounds an acre. So I want twice that much. So I'm going wide open. I'm just going to hold the thing open as I'm spreading the oats. And they say the rain's an hour away, so time for me to get to work. So 2 red hoppers full used about half of the bag. I don't see any sense in putting the second half on. So I have this product so thick already. And if you look at it, it's much more than they suggested, I'm sure. So I'll just throw that stuff that's left in 1 gallon Ziploc freezer bags, and I'll save it. We'll see if it works next year. And in the meantime, time to hop back on the tractor, bring that cultipacker up here, cultipack this in before the rain comes.